I want to know, who's going to tell him that the job he's currently seeking might just be one of those black jobs?
We do not need 4 more years of bluster and bumbling and chaos. We have seen that movie before, and we all know that the sequel is usually worse.
All right, welcome back to GMA3. That was former President Barack and First Lady Michelle Obama taking aim at Trump on night 2 of the Democratic National Convention.
Democrats are rallying behind their candidate, Vice President Kamala Harris, as the DNC enters day 3. And here to discuss it all is a woman who has served under 3 presidents, former UN Ambassador Susan Rice. Thanks so much for being with us.
Good to see you.
Great to be with you.
And just to start, I'm curious kind of your take, how you feel about what you've seen so far at the DNC.
I've been to many conventions, and this one is off the hook. It really has been tremendous. The energy, the passion, the joy, the unity, and last night was absolutely electric with Barack Obama, Michelle Obama, Doug Emhoff. It really has been a tremendous convention so far.
Ambassador, let's talk about one of your former bosses, former President Bill Clinton. He's expected to take the stage tonight. They're at the DNC. What should we expect to see?
Well, I think Bill Clinton, who is like others before him on the schedule, a tremendous orator. And I think people will have the opportunity to hear him lay out the stakes in this election. He'll obviously make the case for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz as leaders who care about people, everyday people in this country, but I think he will also put forward what is really on the ballot in November this fall. Are we going to vote for division, hatred, fear, an extreme agenda as emblematic, as characterized by Project 2025 that will take us backwards generations to a place where women had no voice and no real control of their lives or their bodies? Or are we going to move forward, as Tim Walz and Kamala Harris are committed to doing, forward to a future where everybody has a stake, everybody has an opportunity to get ahead, and where our rights and freedoms are protected and respected? So I think we'll hear from Bill Clinton about how critical this election is for our democracy, for our future, for our leadership in the world. All of that is on the ballot.
We've seen a major shift in enthusiasm for Harris's campaign. Do you think that excitement can last?
Well, absolutely. We've got less than 80 days until November 5th, and the enthusiasm is palpable. It's everywhere. Now, the energy's not enough. We've got to translate that into action on the ground. One of the refrains last night from Michelle Obama is that we have to do something. We have to get engaged. We have to knock on doors. We have to make phone calls. We've got to register voters. We've got to get out our neighbors. We've got to support this ticket in every way possible, because this is going to be a very, very close race.
Ambassador, we have seen thousands of protesters outside that arena there, and some even inside. How do you think Harris should go about handling protesters here at home, and also, how the U.S. is handling the conflict there, the war with Israel and Hamas?
I think, people are protesting their grave concerns about what's going on in Gaza, and we live in a country where those First Amendment rights need to be protected as long as people are acting peacefully. But the broader issue is one that Vice President Harris and President Biden have spoken to repeatedly. And what happened on October 7th was horrific. That terrorist attack was unprecedented. And yet the suffering that has ensued in Gaza since is extraordinary. And it's far past time that this conflict comes to an end, that there be a lasting ceasefire, and that the hostages are able to return home. That is what is critical. And President Biden and Vice President Harris, Secretary of State Tony Blinken, the entire administration is working as hard as they can to achieve that goal. It remains very difficult and elusive, but we will not, and they will not rest until a ceasefire and the return of hostages are achieved.
All right, former Domestic Policy Council Director and U.S. National Security Advisor and UN Ambassador, woman of many titles. Thank you very much. We appreciate it, Susan Rice. Good to see you.
Thank you very much. Good to be with you.
And ABC News is covering the Democratic National Convention in Chicago tonight in prime time, streaming on ABC News Live starting at 7 p.m. Eastern and then here on the network at 9 p.m.